Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. It's that time of week again, and in this week's video I'll be reviewing the Legio Custodes Contemptor-Galatus Dreadnought. I did promise that I'd do the review in better lighting, and here it is. The main point that they're pushing is that the Contemptor-Galatus is stronger, faster and better armoured, and it's a markedly superior war machine. So we'll see when the rules come out, because unfortunately Forge World have not released the rules when they put the model up on their web store. You're going to have to buy the Inferno book. I mean, I'm pretty sure that my last Horus Heresy book was, I think, £74. I don't know whether they're going to now push it for the 80. I've got a funny feeling that they might just try and push Inferno at £80, and if they do, I think that's really, really unfortunate. But we'll see in a couple of weeks. So this Custodian Dreadnought, it wields a huge Galatus warblade. That's what it's got on it, and it's got a twin-linked Infernus incinerator. So not a normal incinerator, but a twin-linked Infernus incinerator. So we'll have a look what the rules are when they come out. And an enlarged version of the Presidium shield. So obviously it's got armour and a refractor field, and then the Presidium shield allows it a bit more protection. So the price of one of these is £56, which isn't actually too bad when you consider that a normal sort of Legion Contemptor Dreadnought is £35, and then you pay £9.50 per weapon. You're then looking at £54, so it's £2 more than your normal Contemptor. But from what people have said, just with my first look and things, I think people have said it's a bit more complex. I definitely found it more time consuming and a much more difficult model than the Palace Grav Tank, just because that model had hardly any parts, didn't require much cleaning up, and it was built relatively quickly. This is my first ever Contemptor Dreadnought, other than the plastic ones that you get in the box sets. So so go easy on me in terms of the feet and the torso and things like that. I'll probably will get better, and I'll probably get a few more Dreadnoughts before the one with the spear comes out. But you can see his huge blade, and I think I made a point about that being larger than a Space Marine, and Space Marines are normally 7 foot tall, and there you go. It easily is taller than a Space Marine. So that must be a 9 foot or even 10 foot blade, with this Infernus incinerator happening here. So compared to a Space Marine, there you go. It's quite difficult to sort of show you on that angle, but there you go. It does dwarf a Space Marine. Space Marine probably coming up to his groin area, maybe. Not even at his hips. So it does dwarf a normal standard Space Marine. Compared to a Custodian Guard, hopefully you can see that Custodian, his sort of helmet sort of tops the hip area there. So again, it does stand head and shoulders above a normal Custodian, and definitely makes a presence if you had say like a group of them, something like that. It definitely will stand out and draw a lot of attention. He's basically like a Custodian, just that much bigger without the sort of plumage. Definitely got a lot of sort of double eagle work going on, lots of eagles everywhere, and iconography and scrolls. Presidium shield is just huge. I mean, the shield itself is bigger than a Space Marine. So I mean, I suppose you could pick up a Space Marine and use him as a shield, but I don't know, that would probably be quite heretical to do that. But there you go. So yeah, size wise, much bigger than your normal Custodian. And compared to a Contemptor, I thought it'd be bigger than a Contemptor, but actually Contemptor, he's only a tiny bit taller. It's sort of insignificant height wise. That is, to me, that's insignificant. I mean, his top carapace is a little bit higher, but the Gorget is sort of similar. Apologies for using this absolutely abysmal example of a Contemptor, but it's the only one I could sort of like get my hands on that was about. But in a way, it sort of goes to show you the differences between the plastic one and the resin one. Essentially, don't buy a separate plastic one, spend the extra money and get yourself a resin forged weld one, because all the hips are posable, the arms are completely posable. This one is literally two sides of him, and you just glue them together, and the arms are just like that. I mean, you know, the model is in so much pain that he's even squeaking, and he's just plastic. I mean, he's that upset. So there you go. I thought he would be bigger, but he's not a huge amount bigger. But the pose you can get him in so many beautiful dynamic poses. You know, the leg joints and the hip joints are just very easily moved. You get 2 sets of feet. I think you get 2 sets of these sort of walking forward feet, and then 2 of these flat-footed feet. So you could have him in just a stoic pose rather than a sort of action pose. You can only fit the shield on the left arm and the sword on the right arm, so bear that in mind. The head, you can have him looking in any direction. The whole arm itself consists of about 6 or 7 pieces, all articulated. Very difficult to sort of build and get the pose right, even dry fitting to get that pose right, because you have to glue it to the socket, then you have to glue all the individual pieces, and each piece alters sort of the end pose that you're gonna get at the ends. It's not like plastic, where you could glue those pieces with plastic and then sort of move the whole thing and then set it in place. Very, very tricky, fiddly model. If this is going to be your first resin model, you might have some difficulties, and perhaps a normal Contemptor might be a bit easier and a bit better to practice on. But there you go. Absolutely lovely model. £56. Yeah, it's £2 more than a Contemptor, but in my book, excellent model. I'm just pleased it's not like 60 or anything like that. And definitely an incredible sort of centerpiece to a custodian force. Obviously, I can't really talk about the rules in this review as much as I'd like to, because they're not out yet. What I'll probably do though is, when the new book comes out, I will have hopefully painted the Dreadnoughts and the grav tanks. So what I'll do is I'll probably do another video, like a showcase video, where I'll talk about their rules. I'll do an Inferno book review, which will have them in it. Big fan of the model, if you haven't guessed already. I really like the articulation, the choice it gives you of poses. I mean, I know mine isn't in the best sort of pose. One thing I will say is you can't really vertically position the blade in his hand very much. I mean, they do say that you could heat the wire, the tubing there, maybe move the tubing back or forward, but doesn't really give you that many options to sort of, you know what I mean, sort of vertically, position the war blade. But there you go. Really fantastic model, great addition, worth the money, and I definitely look forward to the next one that they bring out. So that's it for my review. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.